Hey, I'm that Stone Kid, the kid that brings you okay content sometimes, and today we're looking at part 1 of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, The Phantom Blood. This is amazing, and I'll explain why after a little bit of the story. I'm also going to be talking about the anime later, but let's not talk about that right now. So the story starts out with George Joestar. His carriage derails from the tracks, and he falls over, and some hoodlum named Dario Brando, he comes in play later, comes and sees kind of what's up because he's just gonna rob them all blind. And then George wakes up and he's there with his wife and his kid. His kid, Jonathan, survives. His wife does not. And Dario pulls on the whole act like, oh, I saved you, it's cool, I saved you. So he's like, and George is always just like, okay, yeah, if you need anything from me, you can take it, I don't care. So he gives him a lot of money and he opens a bar, and then he becomes an alcoholic, and then he gets sick because his kid, Dio, he's popular. Dio slowly poisons him, and then he dies. But before he dies, he gives him a letter and tells him to send it to the Joestars so he can live there. So he does. George takes refuge in him. Bad friggin' idea, George. And so he kind of lives with them. And his son, Jonathan Joestar, or Jojo, he becomes kind of like, he doesn't really like Dio because he always humiliates him. Like, there was a boxing match, and he was against him, and Dio just friggin' whooped him. It was so funny. And he kicks his dog, which is kind of really sad because, like, animal abuse is never funny or cool. So, but Jojo meets this girl, Arena, and he falls in love with her and he hangs out with her a lot. But Dio finds out and kisses Arena, so he knows that will make Jojo real mad. So when Jojo finds out about it, Dio's in some deep shit, man. So Jojo, in like a mad rage, goes and finds Dio and absolutely pummels him. But there's a stone mask on the wall, and when it reacts with Dio's blood, these little like spikes come out of it, and they're all confused on what it is. And so Jojo wins, Dio loses because he cried like a baby. So yeah, so a couple years go by, and eventually George starts getting sick. And could you guess why? Dio slowly poisons him. But Jojo kind of catches on to the charade and takes what he bought and try to go find the guy who sold it to him and an antidote to it. And he goes to like a really bad part of England, and that's where he meets REO Speedwagon. I love REO. He's awesome. He's more like Speedwagon. And just because he tried to rob him, and a lot of other like goons come out and try to kill him and take his money, but he defeats them all, and Speedwagon is just so impressed by him that he just kind of like, wow, it's pretty sweet. So then Jojo finds the antidote, comes back, gives it to his father, but Speedwagon is there for no reason. And while he was gone, Dio did the greatest thing. After a couple of drinks, he takes the stone mask and he kills, there's two hobos. He kills one of them, gets the blood on the mask, and puts it on another guy's face. And he was wasted by the time, because you know what they say, every good story didn't start off with someone eating a salad. Exciting. So the guy put the stone mask on, he becomes a vampire. And he almost kills Dio. He should have gone through with it. Except the sun comes up when he's about to kill him, and he kind of like withers away. So back at the Joestar Mansion, let's go, boys! So the police are there to kind of arrest Dio. And everyone's there, Speedwagon's there, Jojo's there, George is there. And Dio doesn't want to go to prison. He really doesn't. So he tries to stab Jojo, but George gets in the way. And he's like, a kill is a kill. And puts a stone mask on his face, then he becomes a vampire. And the police have the bright idea to unload rounds into him. Bad friggin' idea. Really bad idea. So kind of like a fight ensues where Jojo and Speedwagon have the great idea to burn down the mansion. Which they do, because they hope that could probably kill Dio, and Stone Mask would be under the rubble. But doesn't work. It really doesn't. And obviously, Speedwagon's pretty good. Jojo's not. So Jojo just kind of goes to a hospital where he meets up with Irina again. And they kind of like fall in love. You can tell they get married. They get married. And one day while they're walking, they meet a guy just on a fence with a really big top hat. That's Baron Zeppeli. And Baron Zeppeli punches Jojo in the gut, but that heals his arm. So then he teaches him the ways of Hamon. Let's go, the sunlight power! So yeah, and he just kind of teaches him the ropes of Hamon so he can eventually go and kill Dio because he's killing people now. So they stop off at this one place, and there are these two guys. Well, they meet Dio, and there are these two guys he summoned, and they gotta kill him. They don't kill Dio because Dio runs away like a wuss. But before that, Dio freezes Jojo's arm, in which Speedwagon cuts himself open to heat up Jojo's arm because it will be gangrenous and it will need to be amputated. So they gotta kill both guys. Just Jojo and Baron Zeppeli. So their backstories really aren't that exciting. They're just kind of two guys who work for like a queen or something. And by the way, I'm sorry if I get some of this wrong because it's been a year since I last saw the anime and I haven't finished all the manga because they're $30 an issue and I ain't doing that. Screw that. What are you thinking? So they both defeat him. Well, they defeat one. And then the other leads him into a big castle where Jojo is hooked up to a machine. Well, not really a machine. It's a chain that will go around his neck. And it went around the other guy's neck. And whoever dies. And whoever wins gets to go free. But Zeppeli has the good idea to get into their fight. And the chain is wrapped around him and it crushes him. So he's dead. But he gives all of his Hamon to Jojo to finally beat him. Which is like Hamon is visible and then he kills the other guy. So exciting. Another one on our kill count. Very, very good. So they just kind of proceed because they gotta kill Dio. They gotta kill Dio. So how it first works is, like, obviously Dio and Jojo get into their scrap, and Dio freezes Jojo's blood. But Jojo has a sword, and he sticks it into a fire and lifts it up into Dio to hopefully kill him. Because if the Hamon will, fire probably will. Yeah, Jojo beats Dio. He doesn't. And when he goes on his honeymoon cruise with Irina, this guy's persistent. Dio's persistent. Literally. I love this cruise. This is great. I'm here with my wife. It's time to mess with his shit and ruin his life. So yeah, Dio's there just a severed head. He's just the head. Just the head. So Jojo knows what he has to do. And his wife Irina, they already have a child. It's like a really tiny baby. Actually, yeah. Find a baby and they just kind of like take him in. And then Jojo stays with Dio's head as the ship is burning to like sacrifice himself with it. Bad idea, Jojo, as you can see in part 3. Woo! Stardust Crusaders, man. So yeah. Jojo is dead. Dio is dead. Want to hear a little secret? He's not. He's really not. So yeah, now I'm going to be talking about the anime. From what I can remember, the anime is really flashy and I love it, just like all the poses and stuff like that. I find it amazing. Like when I was at my improv coach's improv tournament, when they came out, they all did JoJo poses, and me and my buddy Reed, or my boy, look him up, twitch.tv/SGBLyro, check him out. But they're all doing JoJo poses, and my teacher, Matt, he was Josuke. He was like the bam! Like, that was so awesome. I loved it so much. And there's a couple continuity issues when it comes to some of the scenes, and I love the sound design. It's so amazing, and the art style is really good too, and the kind of onomatopoeia they have floating out in like an ominous way, that is just so good. That's really good design. I love it so much. It's one of my favorite parts about it, and it's just so watchable. You don't gotta, like, there's not really many characters you have to keep track of. Like, you gotta remember Dio, you gotta remember Speedwagon, Jojo, Irina, and Zeppeli, even though Zeppeli, like, dies. But you don't really have to remember that many. In all the fights, it always takes Jojo a different way of beating them, because when Hamon doesn't work, which it doesn't work a lot of the time, he has to come up with another way to beat him. And when he can't breathe, like in the fight with the two guys, it was almost an entire underwater fight, so he couldn't breathe, but he remembered there was an old mine shaft, so he lifted up a rock and an air bubble came out, so he was finally be able to use his Hamon, because it's breathing related. So, like, it wasn't just straight up fist fights. You actually had to think of some stuff. It's not really like Dragon Ball Z. It's not just straight up flying and super transformations. Even though I love Dragon Ball Z, it's one of my favorite mangas it's my favorite manga of all time. But it's never like that. It always takes a different way. And I saw part 2 of the anime. I love it. I think it's just kind of the same thing, except it's Joseph Joestar, and Irene is like a grandma. But yeah, Jojo in that is really cool. Joseph Joestar in that is really cool. And I'm on part 3 right now just because it was released on Netflix with Jotaro Joestar. And Jotaro, I think he's kind of a douche. If you can guess what Joestar that is, leave it in the comments and I will do something for you. I'll give you like $1 or something. But hope you like my video. I'm that Stone Kid and goodbye. Ha!